Merry Christmas. How are y'all feeling after partying yesterday? All right, we're going to start and bring up the energy a little bit from one of our lovely Christmas Eve songs.
Isn't this the greatest place? Yeah, so good morning, everyone. Here and on the screen, Merry Christmas, everyone. And we want you to know wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are so very welcome here. We believe that we are co-creators with the divine and that you can change your entire life by how? Changing your mind. And the teachings here are so great. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. So just a word of encouragement. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy, and we teach the universal truths found in all spiritual teachings, both traditional and contemporary. So we study the teachings of Jesus all the way up to Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle and Louise Hay, and you name it. We love to study truth here. So please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for more information on upcoming events and to submit prayer requests, and so we can get to know you and be in touch with you. So please send us your comments or questions. And I guess we're in for another great song from their Big Love Band. Let's give them some love.
All right, please sing with us. This is the Big Love Band version of Joy to the World.
Most everyone stayed standing. This is the time when we bless one another. So get those hands nice and energized and warmed up. And if you're at home, you can direct them out here to us or to yourself. And please repeat with me. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center.
All right, so for our special today, Barbara and I are going to do something we've been wanting to do for a while. We've been trying to find a duet we could play on this piano. Yay. Welcome, Barbara. And first of all, it's really an honor to be doing this together. It's been so fun. And the song we chose for this time of year is by the wonderful Vince Guaraldi, who, if you know him, he's the guy that wrote all that Peanuts music, you know. And we ended up choosing one of the famous piano pieces, Linus and Lucy, and it's Yay. And I love this song because it's such a good example of two crazy partners. It's like, what, those two get along? Well, sometimes, not always. And it ends up working out, and they work through any struggles they have to end up making beautiful music. So enjoy.
I don't think I've ever heard that song all the way through like that. That is great. Let's hear it again for them, Barbara and Colette. Oh my, that was good. I've missed that this year. I have not seen the Charlie Brown Christmas, and I missed seeing it. I don't know if it's been on or going to be on again, but we'll see what happens. I'm John Coryell. For people across the land who may be watching from hither or yon, I'm one of the spiritual practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Cape Coral, Florida. Our reading this morning comes from Eileen Caddy, one of my old favorite books that I use in meditation, Opening the Doors Within. It says, "What do you expect from life? Do you expect the very best? Or are you one of those souls who is always afraid of the worst is going to happen and that things will always go wrong? If you are, you deserve what is coming to you. For you attract to you that which you love or that which you hate and fear." Or, if holding in your consciousness, how shall we say, a kind of negative atmosphere. When your consciousness is negative, you draw negativity towards you, like steel to a magnet, and you will find yourself keeping company with those souls of like mind. For like attracts like, as we do all know here. When your consciousness is of love, when you are bubbling over with the joys of life, and when your heart is filled with gratitude for everyone and everything, you will find yourself drawing towards you those happy, joyful souls who radiate love and joy wherever they go. Your life will be filled with the very best that life can offer. Why not see the very best in every situation? See the very best being drawn to you right here and right now. So we are taking this into prayer and drawing to ourselves the absolute very best as we are in search for a new minister. We just know that that very best and perfect divine right minister is flowing to us as we are searching for him or she and just knowing that they are on their path to us right here and right now. We expect the very best. We accept it. We allow it to be here and now. And join me, if you will, in affirming this by saying, and so it is. Yes, yes, yes. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our interim minister with the special topic of the light of a new dawn, Reverend Gregory Toole. Let's make him welcome.
Good morning, Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral. Good to be with you this morning. If you're wondering why I have a different background, I'm home sick today, not feeling great, but feeling so much better just being with you this morning and listening to the Big Love Band and Barbara and Colette and Linda and John and all the ways that we just kind of lift each other up here. So I'm going to do my best, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. And this topic, the light of a new dawn, feels so appropriate for you all in CSL Cape Coral right now, that you are, as John just said, you're on the verge of calling in a new senior minister. And what an exciting time this is for you all. And, in looking at the word dawn, it's very interesting because the dawn is not when the sun, when we see the sun appearing, that the dawn is actually when we just start to see the light. Remember, how in the morning when that light starts to appear before we see the sun rise, that's the dawn. And so it's kind of something that is heralding in the new light that is coming up, but it is like sort of the precursor to it. And so that's what we're seeing now, right? We have our vision. We did all kinds of visioning, and we have a vision statement for the new minister, and all kinds of activities are taking place. The minister search committee is doing an amazing job. I can't wait for all of you, if you haven't seen it already, to see the video that they've come out with. It's quite extraordinary and represents the center really well. And so, yes, the light of a new dawn, a newness emerging. Remember when we went back and we did the old stories, new stories, and we decided that we were releasing old stories, right? And we came up with some new stories. And I decided to go back and look at a few of those and read a few of those for my talk with you all today here. And so here's a few of them that you all came up with. And one is, this is what you all came up with in that exercise that we did. We are experiencing a renewed sense of unity, and we create greater harmony through kind, clear, honest communication with each other. Our collective consciousness anchors heaven on earth. We outgrow our skin 5 times and become a huge entity within Cape Coral. There is a thirst for spiritual awakening, and CSLCC becomes the conduit for it. We are an epicenter for abundance, and by supporting those who support us, we complete the circle. Our community is full of members chomping at the bit to become leaders and practitioners. So these are some of the examples of what you came up with for the new stories of where you feel called to be, where this community feels called to be. And the word be in there is really key because it all starts with being. Remember when we were doing visioning, there was those questions about what am I to become and what am I to release? And that's, I really encourage you to keep that as part of your daily spiritual practice for each one of you, because this being thing is what is calling in this new minister, is what is calling in the vision. We start to become something different, right? So the being is, a lot of times we think about the doing and the having first, but it's really the equation is be, do, have, right? We start with the state of being. We start with the state of consciousness. So what are you in particular being called to step into in your state of being? Are you, being called to be more love, to be more aligned more with the quality of harmony, align more with the quality of joy, align more with the quality of faith or trust? What is it for you that is part of, each of us are creating this experience, this new light that is dawning is calling each of us to newness. And let us not make the mistake to think that all we're trying to do is get a new minister, keep everything else the same, except for we have a new minister, right? And we get to be exactly the same, and the center gets to be exactly the same, except we have a new face, because it's calling you all into newness. It is calling you to create something totally new. And that's just how life works, right? Life is always calling us into newness. Life is always calling us into this now moment, this fresh moment of now. And why would we ever want to create, recreate the old when we're being called into this fresh moment of now that is ripe with so much possibility? So I wanted to remind you of some of those new stories that you came up with, because I'm really inspired by them. And I want to encourage you not to fall back into the old stories. And I love the reading that John did a moment ago, that really talked about who are you aligning with and what are you aligning with? What energies are you aligning with? That's also a state of being, right? Because we're going to attract that, right? And the old stories had a whole bunch of, kind of junk in there, right? And we decided to release those old stories and to really create something brand new here. And that is what is taking place. And so you want to be really steadfast in not falling back into the old stories, right? Because the habitual patterns of thinking can be very pervasive. But if we keep before us, as Howard Thurman said in a famous poem of his, keep before us our moments of high resolve. Keep before you those new stories that you wrote up, which I believe are posted in the sanctuary. Go read them after service today and remind yourself of what it is that you are being called into. Go read the minister vision statement and remember what it is, who is the person that, excuse me, the person that you're calling in, because that person that you're calling in and the qualities that you're calling in for that person, of course, we are to become that first. As John said in his reading, we attracts like. So in order to attract that type of person that you've written down there in that vision statement, we are not divorced from that, right? It's very indicative of what is our journey over these next months. What are we to become? What are we to step into? It's not just like this person, like, let's get this person who has all those great qualities. We're going to stay the same. we're going to just be, be raising Cain over here. But this person's going to be an enlightened being and have all these great qualities. And it's like, no, what are we being called to be? What are you being called to be? What are you being called to step into? Joel Goldsmith, in his book, The Foundation of Mysticism, said, you will now begin to see yourself in a new light. You will now begin to realize you have spent these years filling your mind and soul with God's word. And now that the word of God has come to fruition and all who reach you and touch you are blessed, this new light that starts to dawn in us after we've done all the spiritual practice, we've been working on ourselves, there's a new light that starts to dawn in us. We're not the same anymore. We start to become something different. We start to become filled with the light of spirit, right? And wherever we go, there is light. Wherever we go, there's positivity, right? It's like sometimes people think in organizations they can't make a difference. And I always was curious about that, because I always feel like, oh, any organization that I become a part of is different the moment I become a part of it. Not because in some egoic sense, but just because before I wasn't there, now I am there. So whatever consciousness that I am bringing is now added to the consciousness that it's there. And then it becomes up to me to make sure that that's a positive thing, right? So when you walk into a room, when you walk into a space, what is the consciousness that you are bringing? What is the energy that you are bringing? What is it that you are adding to that space? Sometimes we want to just say, I'm going to just wait on the sidelines and watch. And the problem with that, I mean, that seems like okay, right? Just, but the problem with that is it forgets the fact that you're involved in what's happening. So how can you be on the sidelines just watching when you're involved in what's happening, right? It's be like being in a sporting match and there you are and you're on the team and you're just waiting to see what happens. Well, you're a part of making what happens happen, right? So I just really encourage you to recognize this is not a passive activity that you're engaged in here. This is a very active thing. And this is calling you into deepening your spiritual practice every day, every morning, having a practice where you sit in the silence and you cultivate within your own being the qualities that are yours to cultivate in order to call in this new experience that represents the new stories, that represents the new minister vision statement, that represents this new light that is dawning in the center. Don't go back. Don't go backwards. Keep stepping into this new light. New light keeps being revealed, and you're starting to see it, right? You caught this vision of the new stories. You caught this vision of a new minister. Perhaps you're catching a vision of who you want to be in this new story, right? Who are you being called to be in this new story, right? There's new stories and a new minister being called. And what does that represent for you in terms of newness? What are you being called into? You know, for me, this past year, there were a couple things that I was reminded of in preparing this talk. One was at the beginning of the year, or at this time last year, I was serving just one center in California. And at the end of the year, I was catching this new light started to dawn that said, oh, you know, here are these two centers that are somewhat smaller. And I just caught this vision that I was to collaborate that with another center, and we were to work together, and I was to serve two centers in California. And it's hard to describe, but it's just so amazing looking back now, because all that unfolded over this course of 2021, at the end of 2020, wasn't even like wasn't even on the radar. It was just like this new light started to dawn, and it was pulling me and it was calling me in, but I couldn't see all the amazing things that were going to come from that, all the relationships I would have, all the new people I would meet, and all the projects we would take on and events we would have, and all the classes we would do together, and all the just amazing things that have unfolded in 2021. And 2022 is even going to be better. But it's like this new light starts to dawn, and we have to trust. There's a lot of trust and faith involved when that new light starts to dawn, right? When we don't see the sun yet, but we see the evidence of the light coming up, we don't doubt that the sun is going to eventually come up, right? We're not sitting there going like, oh, well, I see some light, but I don't know if the sun's really going to rise. I'm going to wait and see if the sun really is going to rise or not, right? We know it's going to rise. And same way when you start to see this new light of your new stories, your new minister vision statement, you have to trust and have faith that this is the beginning of a new day. This is the beginning of something brand new for all of you, and step into that. Don't hold back. Don't wait and see what's going to happen. You are what's happening. How about that? You are what's happening, you know? So step into that and really look at how am I being called to grow and expand? You know, this word light shows up in all the major religions, you know, and representing God itself. God itself is calling us to something, right? In Christian scripture in John 1:5, it says God is light. In the Buddha, at the end of his life, when his disciples said, well, are we going to be without our teacher now? When he was about to make his transition, said, be your own light. And then in the Bhagavad Gita of Hinduism, speaking of Brahman, which is God, it says, he is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge, and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. In the Quran, it says, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. And in Judaism, there's a Rabbi Shimon Apostolf who said that light is the overarching central theme of Judaism. It permeates everything in Judaism. So this word light, you know, and this light of a new dawn, this like, what is being birthed in you? What is calling you forward? What are you starting to see now, right? We don't, oftentimes in my life, not so much anymore, but oftentimes in my life, I would want to see the whole picture before I could take a step. You know, it's like, show me the whole thing first, you know, then I'll get on board. I don't know about this yet. I don't know if I want to get on board, but very rarely does life work out that way, right? You know, usually we get to see a little glimmer. We get to see a little glimpse of what's to unfold. And then we have to start taking steps in that direction. We start being called in a direction, and we have to start taking steps in that direction. So this is how it works, right? So I also was thinking about different areas of life and kind of how this applies to different areas of our lives, right? Like if we're really looking to have a relationship or to have a better relationship, we get to ask, how am I being with myself? Excuse me. How am I being with myself? Am I loving and accepting myself and appreciating myself fully? Well, how could I possibly be in a positive, uplifting relationship if I don't do that? In the realm of prosperity, right? Am I stepping into the quality of worthiness? Do I believe I am worthy of having abundance in my life? If I don't feel I'm worthy, all of my efforts will be for naught. This comes back again to the be, do, have. It all starts with the being. And if we start with the doing and the having, and we're trying to make it all happen out there, it's a weak foundation to build it on. But if we can start with, what is the consciousness I'm being called to step into? What is the consciousness you're being called to step into in manifesting this new minister? What is the consciousness you're being called to step into to manifest these new stories? So if we start with the being, not just like, how do we make this happen? How do we do this? How do we have this? But start with, what is the consciousness? What is the beingness? What is the state of being that I'm being called into? In the realm of health, how could we experience great health if we're not in a state of harmony, right? If we're in a state of dis-ease, how can we experience health in our body? Career, can we let go of our fears, right? We want all these things in our career, but if we're in fear all the time, right? We're in fear of taking a step. We're in fear of moving forward. Then how could we, have this thing, or even if we do have it, enjoy it, right? So this state of being, to begin spending some time with, like, what is this fear? Feel into it, right? Feel into that fear and say, what is that fear that's coming up in me right now? Don't push it away. Don't say I shouldn't be feeling fear right now because these emotions aren't rational. But what is that about in me? What is that is bubbling up in me as fear? What is it calling me to? What am I being called to become? What am I being called to release? And be with that fear. And embrace your fear. Befriend your fear. And see where it guides you, because it's guiding you somewhere. That fear that's coming up in you is guiding you to something. It is letting you know something about yourself. And if we just push it down and say, I don't want to experience that, then we miss out on the information that it has for us. So follow that to the root and get clarity on, oh, this is a belief I have about myself. Like, I have a belief that I'm not enough, or I have a belief that I can't accomplish the things I want to accomplish, or I bought into this belief that from childhood that I never succeed, or whatever it is. Get to the root of that, because that's the state of being that we're being called into. And that will provide the strong foundation for the doing and the having. So also, I want to just say, in the season of light, we're just coming off of the winter solstice, where there's more and more light every day, right? That's what I love about the winter solstice. It's solstice. I mean, it's the shortest day of the year, but it's also the beginning of new light, more and more light coming forth every day. And I love the symbolism of that and what it represents. And, we do winter solstice events and activities to honor that and call forth and ride the wave of what is this new light that is coming in. And of course, we just celebrated Christmas yesterday, and this Christmas being a recognition of the Christ, or our highest nature, being born in us. So what a great season this is for us to cultivate these states of being that we're being called into, because there's more and more light coming about. We're just in this period of recognizing that we're embracing the Christ being born in us, the Christ consciousness being born in us, or our highest nature being born in us. Because Christmas is not just about Jesus, who lived a couple thousand years ago, and Jesus wasn't, his name wasn't Jesus Christ. His name was Jesus of Nazareth, but he was the Christ, just like you and I can be the Christ, or the Buddha. What is it that we're being called into? What is our Christ nature that we're being called to step into more fully? We also have today as the first day of Kwanzaa in the African American community, and today's principle is unity. Ah, yes, that's a great principle, right? So we can ride, excuse me, we can ride all of these energies and align with these energies and align with the highest of who we are. And don't even go to the lowest of who we are. If you see anyone else wallowing in the mud, don't get down in the mud with them. Pull them out of the mud, right? Pull them out of the mud. Help them see the light, because in that moment, they're not seeing the light. They're not seeing the truth. They're not seeing the highest. Oftentimes, it comes out of our places of hurt and woundedness. But if we go down there with them and say, oh, yes, you poor person, then all we're doing is going right down into that downward spiral ourselves. So what we're called to do if someone else is wallowing in the mud is help them out of there, pull them out of there, help them see the light, help them see that there is a new light that is dawning. And this new light that is dawning is calling us to something way greater, and that to hold on to the past is not going to serve. Thank you so much. This is the invitation this day, is to examine, to look at, to ask, what is the new light that I am beginning to see? And how is that calling me to be? What is the state of consciousness I am being called to step into? And step into it and allow the beautiful life that is yours to have to continue to unfold. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. Let us turn within for prayer. And so in this moment, I just recognize and know that God is, that there is one infinite presence of love, of wholeness, of harmony, of truth, and that this one expresses right where I am as my very life and being. And not only does it express right where I am, it expresses right where each one is. So I know that each one who is in the sanctuary today, each one who is watching online today, excuse me, that, excuse me, that each one is a unique way that spirit is happening. And so I just bless all that we're about this day. I bless this new light that is dawning for each of us individually and for the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral collectively, for I know that something amazing is unfolding, and I just bless it and call it good and very good. I know that we are on our path, we are on our journey, each one of us and all of us, and good and more good is the result. I give great thanks and I let this be, and so it is. Amen. Well, thank you so much for your attention today, and my apologies for all the coughing here. I trust that you can add me to your prayers. I trust that I am healing very quickly here, but at the moment not feeling 100%. So let's go into our offertory here, that other exciting moment to look at, wow, I have something to give. I'm so grateful that I have something to give, that I always have something to give. And so we step into that consciousness of giving, of gratitude for all that we receive in the spiritual community, for all that we receive from life, and the state of gratitude just being fertilizer for even more good to come forth. And so we enter the state of gratitude as we contemplate, what is mine to give today? What is mine to give? And we do it intentionally, consciously, and not rotely, right? We discover anew all the time, what is mine to give? And so as there's so many ways that you can give to the community. You can text your donation to 239-320-3820. I did text to give recently myself. What an amazing experience for someone like me who likes technology. It was really great to just sit there in a service and do a text, and the next thing you know, I had made my contribution to the community. You can also send your contribution through PayPal at cslcapecoral.org. Or you can just go to the website and hit the donate button, cslcapecoral.org. Or you can also always go just the old-fashioned way, which still works, which is to put a check in the mail to CSL Cape Coral at 406 Southeast 24th Avenue, Cape Coral, Florida, 33990. Thank you so much for all the ways that you do give to this community. It really makes a difference, and we are creating the new stories, and we are welcoming in the new minister. They are on their way. I feel it. Do you feel it? I feel it. So let us just speak a word of blessing right now over, our offertory affirmation, I should say. Let us do that together. Today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. Oh, that feels good, huh? And so it is, yes. And so we just bless these offerings, knowing that they go forth and do so much good at the center, so much good in the world. And then just by virtue of the law of circulation, they come right on back to us, even in greater measure than what we could ever give. What a beautiful life we have. What a beautiful universe we live in. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. I know I'll be much better the next time I talk with you. Peace and blessings.
Let's give Reverend Gregory a little more love. Okay. Am I in the right place? Of course I'm in the right place. I'm at Centers for Spiritual Living Cape Coral with all of you. My name is Linda. I am one of the licensed practitioners here at the center. And I am also, this morning, your human invitation to all kinds of cool things that we do here. So please check your email or visit us at the website, cslcapecoral.org, to view and register for any of these upcoming events and classes. And if you're not on our mailing list, please do fill out, we have forms here, so we can stay in touch with you. So we would like you to join our Diversity and Inclusion Initiative. Our first meeting will be Wednesday, January 5th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. You can email Reverend Gregory at gregorytoole.com for the Zoom link. And so that's going to be a new fun thing we're doing. On Wednesdays on Zoom from 6 to 8 p.m. beginning January 12th, there is a new class. It is Revealing Wholeness with Reverend Gregory Toole. He teaches awesome classes, so I highly recommend that. Your $225 investment includes your workbook, certificate from home office, and counts towards practitioner training prerequisites. But don't let the cost prohibit you from taking this class. If you need financial help, we always have a way to help work things out around here. So grab a flyer in the lobby. Divine Alignment, the practical application of spiritual teachings, is being facilitated by Melissa Arterberry, and it is a $180 investment, so check out that. And the Prosperity Conscious Book Club is starting a new book. And so join Malika Davey and I on Tuesdays from 3:30 to 5 o'clock as we read and discuss. And we actually read the book while we're in our meeting together. So it's really fun. And then we have great conversation around it. And that is a $30 per month suggested love donation. And we have our ongoing and continuing food drive as always. So we really appreciate your non-perishable donations. And you can leave them here on Wednesdays, Sundays, mornings, and Tuesdays and Thursdays when Mel is here. And we know that those receiving those really appreciate those. After service, all the practitioners are up here, and so don't leave without your 1-minute miracle. We love to pray with you, whether it's something heavy on your heart or you just want to celebrate and bring more good into your life. We love doing that, so please join us up here. And now I invite you all to stand. This is our Standing in the Light, where we hold each other, our friends and family, in the light and in the realm of possibilities and potentialities for greatness. And I am standing in the light for this amazing, beautiful spiritual center, CSL Cape Coral, and all of our congregants, whether in person or out in Zoom land, and just absolutely knowing that our new minister is finding its way to us, and just knowing everything is unfolding with the beauty and ease of grace. Standing in the light for all of Gail's friends and family. Standing in the light for Barbara's son and his family. Standing in the light for Kim. Standing in the light for Stacy, Casey, and Jeff. Standing in the light for Danielle.
I'm standing in the light for Reverend Gregory so that he comes back.
Standing in the light for Reverend Gregory. Standing in the light for Brother Andy and Mother Marina. And I'm standing in the light for my son Cole and for all the unspoken prayers. And I invite you to add your own name into this field of love and light. Linda. So I am just so very grateful for this celebration time together. So grateful for each one here, whether here physically or tuning in. And just absolutely knowing that as we walk out of here today, we walk out a little differently than when we came in, and just knowing that our love energy, the change that we are, continues to change the world, that we are the change that we wish to see, and that ripples out across this planet. And just knowing that that field of grace meets us and greets us at every corner, in every place, in every space where we are on this day and each and every day. And as I like to say, it is a great, grand, glorious, good God day, a 5G day today and every day. And so for this and so much more, I am indeed eternally grateful. And I invite you to anchor this with me by saying those beautiful words, and so it is.
I'm going to share this song today. Continues with the theme. Winter's here, it's the time of year to celebrate the season. Family and friends, the joy never ends. Our connection is the reason, and the very best part is the love in our hearts. Be the light that shines in the dark. Be the hope. All it takes is a spark. If love is to be, it all starts with you and me. Be the light, be the light, be the light. Like a candle flame in a window pane, or embers burning by the fireside. As we celebrate, we great rest of your week.